there's this show on TV called Gladiators, and like you see ads for it on, is it channel 7 or 9 Rush or whatever it's called? I don't know what it's called. I think it might be channel 10. This show Gladiators, it was like a big thing in the early 90s, late 80s in America, and it had like spin-offs in Australia and the UK in the 90s, but they were much more brief. They were like a year or two, especially in Australia, and it had an attempted reboot in 2008, and now it's come back properly in Australia, not because people actually wanted it to come back in Australia, but because it came back in the UK. And in Australia, they're like, well, it must be successful, must be really good and popular right now. It's good over there. And I'm like the first time I saw an ad for it, I'm like, they're like, Gladiators coming back, or Gladiators is coming back. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, because you were like, who was asking?
And so I looked into it, and I'm like, all I'm reading is that this is a terrible idea. That's all I'm reading. I'm like, so the last time that someone tried to bring this back, it was dead in the water, and then the time before that, it wasn't very successful. What are you basing this return on? Like, it's not an original idea. It's just like, what the hell?
That's the real problem with the modern age of entertainment, is we're in the age of nostalgia and just very few original things. It's all reboots, sequels, prequels. That's the era we're in. And honestly, I'm adding on to a well-established franchise, and I'm over it, to be honest. I want more original things.
Did I think I read something or I watched a video where someone said it's like, it's not really popular because it's good. It's really popular because it's like the only original thing going at the moment.
I think it could be.
And like sometimes like a movie will come out and it's okay. No, Frank said it. Frank said it in a Minecraft video or something like. It's not like. I can't remember what he said exactly, but it's something like that where it's like it's not that it's like. It's just like the least shit of what's out there right now.
But Frank is a wise old man.
He is, yeah.
He's very sagely.
Yeah. He doesn't say much, but when he says something, you have to listen.
Everything he says is a gem.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
You should insert like a clip of him saying something stupid or just, I don't know, dropping the cans or something.
I ain't got no horse in this race.
Well, speaking of like sequels and reboots and stuff,
yeah.
I don't know if we should talk about this because
we can just cut it out, or I can just cut it out.
No, it's not like a private thing. It's
but like we might talk about it on Same.
Well, yeah, because so what I've been doing is since we've put Same on.
Yeah, you got a list
indefinite hiatus. Yes, I have my big list.
I've got one going.
My huge list of, not topics necessarily as much as I have written down every single piece of media I have consumed.
Okay.
And it's like 4 pages long of every movie, every game, and every TV show I've watched. But the most recent thing is I watched Wonka. And I was thinking about talking to you about it now, but I was thinking, like, should we wait? Because, like, we're just talking about franchises that are just, clinging on to old nostalgic material. And also, it's the most recent thing I watched, and it's in theaters right now. I watched Wonka.
We can just get Frank's opinion on it later.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you haven't seen it.
Nope.
I presume you want to?
I saw a...
No,
I don't mind getting spoiled on it.
I won't spoil it for the audience. But.
Okay. But I saw a video that was like, the different Wonkas all meet up.
I saw that too, actually.
And I'm like, I'm not always a big fan of the videos like that, the sort of the fan mash things.
Yeah, I don't like the music, but it's kind of nice, that one.
Yeah.
It's kind of wholesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I think I was reading in the comments of that video because it didn't seem to show any favoritism to one or the other.
Yeah.
It was just kind of all three of them there.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. So I saw it, and this might be a controversial opinion because we were just talking about this, but I honestly don't feel that it's as much of a corporate cold cash grab as I think a lot of people believe it to be.
Okay.
I actually think there's quite a bit of passion in it, original intent.
I hadn't thought about it. I just thought it was a bit of a extra wacky. That's sort of the impression that I got from it.
It is, but like...
Did Ralph do a movie on it? Do a few on it?
I don't know. I haven't watched him a lot recently.
I think Ralph the Movie Maker talked about it.
Maybe. I haven't seen anyone review it. I've just watched it myself, completely unbiased. I mean, look, I'm a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory fan. Mm-hmm. I've read the book many times. I've watched both films many times. I like them both equally for different reasons, which is a controversial opinion. But fuck you, I can do what I want. Mm-hmm. Again, that's it. It's just my opinion. Yeah. To start the arguments, but as we were talking about earlier, I approve of this film because it is obviously it's an original story, but like it doesn't. I thought like if I felt like it was a corporate cash grab, the whole thing would be just filled with like nostalgia, right? It would be filled with references like, oh, this is where he got the idea for the everlasting gobstopper or something like that. It'd be filled with that.
Like Solo.
Yeah, it would be all exactly. So Solo is a great example. I thought it would be like Solo.
Yeah.
And it really didn't feel that way. There was a couple references here and there. And honestly, I think that like the marketing team realized that the film was not as nostalgia heavy as I think they expected it to be. So I think the marketing team deliberately made it look more nostalgic. So one of the big things is the Oompa Loompa, played by Hugh Grant.
Oh.
He's all over all the trailers, right?
Yeah.
And you'd think like, I thought it would be like a buddy comedy duo.
Yeah.
Buddy duo comedy.
But it's like one part of the movie.
Yeah, the Oompa Loompa is barely in it. For half of the film, most people don't even think he exists, including the audience. They don't show him until like the first half, like the end of the like halfway through the film. It's really not about that, and it's this kind of completely original story.
Yeah.
It's really whimsical and over the top, which some people have turned a lot of people off, which I don't really get because that's just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's Roald Dahl, for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
It's whimsical and it's over the top and it's goofy and it's funny. Like that's the point. I don't know why people are so off-put by it.
I found like a lot of like. So Roald Dahl also wrote. I think he also wrote James and the Giant Peach.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, that movie creeped the hell out of me.
It's stop motion.
Yeah.
So a lot of people find stop
part of
motion
it's stop
creepy.
motion, part of it's live action, and the live action stuff scared me a lot.
The live action stuff scared you. Oh, that's funny.
They had like the car coming out of the water. And like James's aunts come out, and I'm just like, they can't be stopped. They're chasing him. This is scary.
That is good. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
But I also rewatched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory the other night.
Yeah, and that one sort of had like these sort of undertones that there was something dark going on in the background of the story.
What, James and Giant Peach or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Willy
Factory?
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. With Mr. Who's like the opponent chocolate? Slugworth, yeah. So
he is kind of scary in that film.
Yeah.
Slugworth is in Wonka. He's a rival. Okay. He's a rival chocolate maker. There's actually 3 rival chocolate makers. I feel like my thoughts are all over the place, but I just wanted to say I approve of Wonka. Is my general. As a big Willy Wonka fan, I've been a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory fan my entire life. I call it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because that's what the book is called. And I approve it. I honestly think it's very good. And you know what else I really like about it is that I went in with a packed theater filled with kids.
Yeah.
I didn't do that intentionally. That just happened to be the case.
Yeah.
Because we're school holidays right now. And they all loved it, dude. They were fucking at the ends during the credits. They were playing the Oompa Loompa song, and all the kids were dancing to it. And I was like, "This is great." Yeah. And I think that this film is good enough that it's going to be the introduction to the world of Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This will be this new generation's film, and I'm happy. I support it. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's whimsical. It's fun. It's over the top. It hits all the beats I think it needs to hit. It's a completely original story while still keeping that magic and wildness. It's nowhere near as dependent on nostalgia as you might think. It has, don't get me wrong, it has its moments.
Yeah.
Like they play the song World of Imagination, or World of Pure Imagination.
Oh, yeah.
Every now and then. Like sometimes it's just like a couple of keys.
Yeah.
At the very end of the movie they actually sing it, and then I think it's in the credits. But for the most part it's all like original. Like they have, it's filled with original songs. It is a musical, like the first film is. I will say, I don't think any of the original songs are crazy good because I don't really remember any of them.
Yeah.
There was one that was okay, the kind of main theme song, but yeah, I don't know. Pretty good film. It does weirdly turn into a heist film at the end for some reason, though. I don't. That felt a bit left. I don't know, weird to me. I felt like because they kind of set it up. They kind of set up like. There's this thing behind this thing, and there's a security guard, and all these traps we've got to avoid. And I'm like, yeah, but why? Why would we ever do that? Why would we go through there?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but I don't know. My thoughts are kind of random and sporadic on it, but my overall consensus is good film. I liked it. Watch it if you want, or if you don't. I don't care. I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet does a great job.
Yep.
He's really into it. I can't remember the names of the families in that Romeo and Juliet movie.
Capulet and
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Is that the one of Leonardo DiCaprio, the modern day one?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I love that film has all the guns have the word dagger and sword written on them. It's so funny to me. Oh no, he's got a knife and it's a gun with a knife written on it. It's so fucking good.
We had to watch it in high school.
Yeah.
I
I think I watched it with you. I think that's the one time I watched it.
Yeah.
Wheels with you.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing I remember from it.
Yeah.
All the gang wars they had.
I
I feel like there was
remember
a fight scene at like a petrol station
Yeah.
that blew up. But I also feel like that I might just be thinking of Zoolander.
Is that in Zoolander 2? Or?
The first film, I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a water fight with the petrol pumps in Zoolander
Okay.
at the beginning, and then they all die because they all catch on fire.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Zoolander in a long time either, but I remember that scene because it's very stupid.
There's a few like iconic moments in Romeo and Juliet.
But
Mainly the fish tank scene.
I don't remember that.
You remember that? Well, that's how they met. They're both.
Oh, they're
both
looking through it.
They both look through the fish tank, and then they see one another, and they're like, "Oh!" And it's like a meet cute sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably got it mixed up with fucking Titanic. Yeah, and I haven't even seen Titanic before.
Yeah.
The garbage man came.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that it's a parody, of course, of the Candyman came.
Yeah.
From Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That is where that song originates, by the way.
Yeah.
I was talking about it with someone the other night because apparently back in the day, that song was also released as a single at the same time, and everyone thought it was about drugs. But no, it's literally about Willy Wonka. Candyman came. Anyway, so yeah. What was I saying? I don't know. Timothée Chalamet. He's giving it his all. He's having a lot of fun. You can tell he's having a lot of fun, and it's very, very funny to watch the film, see him doing like a dance number or something, or being really crazy and goofy and into it, and then just having a quick flash to how he's like in Dune and laughing. Complete opposites. I love it. I'm glad that he has that range.
Yeah.
Is Dune 2 coming out this year? It better.
I don't know.
Dune 2 Electric Boogaloo. Sandy Boogaloo. I feel like sometimes I feel like that you and I are the only people who have seen Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. I feel like we're stuck in our own little world.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're the only ones that are allowed to make that reference.
Yeah.
Because we know, we've seen it.
That's right.
What's the Breaking podcast?
Yeah. Where we talk about what the movies were like.
Has anyone watched that? I feel like no one watched it. Not that they should, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Such a dumb concept, but I'm glad we made it.
Yeah. Some little gems we've done over the years. Like, sorry.
I love Sorry, I forgot about that. I'll tell you what, I keep getting recommended, of all the same videos, I keep being recommended Ocean Man
Yeah.
when we sung it, the two of us.
Okay.
It's another weird one-off video that we made.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's... yeah, it just pops up from time to time.
Do
I think
you
it's in
watch
my... You know, I do click on it sometimes, that's probably why, but I think it's in my music mix that YouTube makes for you.
No, I think I've seen it pop up in my YouTube music list.
It's a great song, dude. We're so good at singing.
Yeah.
I actually think there's like one comment on it and it says Mabeanie's a better singer. I'm pretty sure that's all there is. How do you get to your YouTube music mix? It just kind of pops up from time to time. I don't know.
Isn't it on the left hand side?
Wait.
No, up. So it was yeah, YouTube music. Fourth from the top.
Well, that's YouTube music itself. That's the.
Oh,
that's
God,
this.
I don't know.
Which has got a completely different
No,
thing.
YouTube,
You know what I mean, though.
YouTube needs to get its shit together.
Mix thing. Like this is Mix Cat W.
YouTube is in the middle of transitioning to something else, and it hasn't worked out what it wants to be yet. Then.
I've been watching a lot of cat videos recently. You might be able to tell from all my recommendations. I've also gone back into One Piece.
Yeah.
I think Frank would be very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But I think he would be unhappy to hear that I haven't picked it up where I left it off over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I also am not speed reading it.
Yeah.
I've restarted from the beginning and I'm just taking my time. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying just having a big adventure story to read. Or watch, I should say. That's what I need right now.
I've been into Doctor Who a bit lately.
You're always into Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I never disliked Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I usually dislike where other people are at.
Has
about
Makudi
Doctor-
Gatwa started yet?
Yep. He did his The Church on Ruby Road. It's the Christmas special.
Is it all on Disney Plus?
Yeah. So you got the three with David Tennant, and then you got the new one with Shooty Gatwa. And I really like him. I don't think it was the best story, but he was great. Like every time, there were a few bits. Like I think I worked out there was like this one bit where, like I'm gonna spoil some. Do you want me to spoil what happened, or are you gonna watch it?
If I do watch it, it won't be for a long time, probably.
Okay.
So you can spoil it.
Yeah. So there's this bit where Millie Gibson's the blonde girl, and like she's going to be the new companion, and she was adopted by this woman and raised from a baby. She was an abandoned baby at a church, and so she was raised by this woman, and she never met her parents, never found out anything, and in this story, her mother has got a new baby on the same day that was in a Ruby Sunday. That's what the character's called. Millie Gibson is the actress. As the same day that Ruby Sunday was found and abandoned. And this great line is because the baby is apparently called in some sort of like one of those hyphenated names, and they say, "Oh, what a terrible name." They're saying it to the baby, "Oh, what a terrible name you got." And I'm like, that's hilarious, because at least they're not like
You're aware of it.
at least they're aware of it.
Well, I mean, if you're a character creator, you're the one who made the name.
And I'm like, I think that Russell T Davies got a lot of flack because there's some transgender stuff in it in some of the episodes, and so that just starts up a whole argument and war and all that stuff, and people saying, "Oh, Doctor Who's gone woke,"
I mean, whatever.
and stuff like that, and I'm like,
it's quite unquote gone woke years and years ago.
yeah, and
It's progressive.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Ultimately, I think that the best thing for what I love when I see someone doing something creative with a story and making something creative, especially with an established franchise like Doctor Who, is that they're trying something different, and that I 100% back them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
The David Tennant episode, The Giggle, he bi-generated into Shutigawa, and I'm like, that is awesome. That because he just
Bi-generated?
he split into 2 doctors.
What?
Yeah.
How did
Like
what?
Shutigawa just came out of him.
Wait, so David Tennant's still around?
Yeah. In the story, he lives forever with Donna.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay. So he goes back with Donna. Okay.
Yeah.
What, they romantically or something?
No, as in like he's living with her family, like her husband and daughter, and mother.
How can he bi-generate? Is that just a thing that you could always do, or is there some nonsense that happened?
It's just like it's a new thing.
Okay. As long as it's explained somehow.
Like Shutigawa comes out and he says, "Well, like this is sort of like a fictional thing that we thought wouldn't happen, but obviously just did happen."
I feel a little sorry for the Goody Gawa. Sorry, I don't know how to say his first name.
Shutigawa.
Shutigawa? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I think whenever you're a new doctor, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all about you. And I feel like he's kind of having to share the limelight with David Tennant to some degree, if that's the case.
Well,
not just that, but also like before he comes, it's like, oh, David Tennant's come back, and it's like, ah.
So David Tennant is not going to be doing any more episodes. He was just doing the 3 specials, but canonically, he lives on indefinitely now.
Of course, he lives on indefinitely. They're the same character. As long as the doctor's alive, he's alive.
Okay, as in, like, his doctor gets retired, I guess, and Shutigawa gets to go and beat the doctor.
Why would he ever want to retire?
Because he needed a break, because he was sort of worn out and...
Motherfucker's immortal. He'll just get back into it again later. He'll appear in this... Because he's still in the story, he'll come back.
He was sort of just like... at the end of the giggle, he's like, oh, so many people have died, and Shutigawa was like, that wasn't your fault.
They're literally... Listen, if you want to have your cake and eat it too, and bring back old doctors, that's fine. That's why they have time travel. You can just do that.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm just kind of confused as to why they did it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, I want, future doctors to interact with David Tennant, Matt Smith, whatever, then just invite them back, It's a story where you can just do that. It's time travel. All the specials and stuff. Yeah. All the anniversary specials. It doesn't even have to be an anniversary special.
Yeah.
You can just do it.
They did it with Jodie Whittaker. She had a scene with Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and Peter McGann.
I love that they keep bringing back those old doctors.
I love those guys. They are the best.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, like Tom Baker's great as well, and these guys, they're like a traveling roadshow. They just like rock up and they just nail it every time. They just have like their opinions are brilliant, and everything they have to say about it is just like, it's a solid point you make every time they talk about stuff. They're like, why doesn't Doctor Who do this? And they just do that all the time. I think like Tom Baker was like the first of them to have like a successful post-Doctor career like that. But these guys are like sort of more niche because the show wasn't as popular from when they were on. It's just, they come on, there's such like a...
If you're a Doctor Who fan though, you know them all.
Yeah.
You know them all.
There's such a good fandom behind them.
Yeah.
Like everyone who goes to see those guys is like, it's just good vibes.
Who's your favourite Doctor? I don't know if I've ever asked you this before. Was it like Tom Baker, I'm guessing? Because didn't you cosplay as him once?
I did.
Because everyone cosplays as him. Because he's fun to cosplay.
I got photos with little kids.
Why would you phrase it that way?
As in, parents would come with their kids when I cosplayed as
like, OMG, it's the Tom Baker Doctor.
And they're like, can my kid get a photo with you? And I would stand there awkwardly with their kid and get a photo with them.
My favourite Doctor is apparently a controversial take. And I get why.
My favourite's Matt Smith.
That's mine too.
Oh, see, they're just the same person.
Okay, this is boring. Turn off the fucking... We're not supposed to have the same opinion. I don't know. I really liked Matt Smith's enthusiasm. I like his era.
Yeah.
I liked it. I think it was H. Bomber Guy. I think he did. Was it him? Actually, now I'm not sure. But I feel like he made a video. No! it was his Sherlock video where he brought up Doctor Who because he doesn't like Sherlock at all. He doesn't like Stephen Moffat's writing, and the reason being he doesn't like it is because he writes the main character. There's a lot of reasons, but his big point was that he writes the main character as sort of the center of the universe.
Yep.
So he didn't like Sherlock because all the stories revolve around Sherlock, as opposed to, being an independent detective coming in and solving the murder. It's like, actually, the murder happened because of Sherlock. He didn't do it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he didn't like how he did it with Doctor Who as well, where the universe is kind of revolving around the Doctor, and all the scenarios that he comes into are all related to him. And he didn't like that. But I kind of do. And you know why? It's because it's different and it's interesting. I don't think Doctor Who should always be revolving around him. I do think by the end of Stephen Moffat, it was a bit much. But I really liked...
To the end of Russell T Davies, it was a bit much.
What? Why are you sending me this now? But yeah, I don't know. I like Matt Smith. I also don't think he's as ugly as I think. I don't want to. There was someone who I usually was watching. I can't remember who it was, so I'm not going to slander the person I think it is. But they were just like, I think he's really fucking ugly. I'm like, I don't think he's that bad. I feel sorry for Matt Smith though, because the only thing I know he's been in afterwards was Morbius, and apparently he didn't do a very good job.
There was something that he was in that he was commended for, which was the House of Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Which is what a Game of Thrones prequel series.
Oh,
I think it was like season 1 of House of Dragon. And so he was like one of the people of the house, whatever they're called.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go. I mean, this has kind of been a thing recently. There's been like this sort of discussion about like, man, if there are people out there who managed to avoid watching Game of Thrones for all these years, like you're crazy, you're incredible, or something like that. And then you have all these people coming out of the woodwork being like, yeah, I'm just kind of like that.
Yeah.
Or, kind of bragging and taking it.
Yeah.
I was among them, but it wasn't because of any, reason. It just didn't happen for me. I didn't have anything against it. I just didn't watch it. I don't know. I'm not proud of the fact that I didn't watch it. I kind of am happy that apparently it ended so badly that I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it. But other than that, I just didn't.
I watched the first episode, and at the end of it, I'm like... This show kind of pisses me off.
Okay.
So, because the little boy climbs up the thing and he sees the brother and sister doing it and gets shoved out the window and ends up disabled from it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I fucking hate that. That pisses me off.
I think that's the idea. They have all these really hateable characters and dying all the time.
I know at the very end of the series that character goes on to become the leader.
Yes,
or they trust him the most because
I think it's good. We've watched Ralph and shit talk about it.
Yeah.
I remember Ralph the movie maker. He remember that video because at the very beginning he says, "I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones. I'm going to talk spoilers. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. He specifically says, if you haven't seen it but you just like watching me, still don't do it. Just watch it." And I was like, oh, okay. And then I talked to you about it, and you said, yeah, I watched it anyway. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it anyway too. And so I did. It's interesting because we're writers, and and it's good to know where writing fails and where it works, and it helps us even if we haven't seen the show. Ralph does a good job explaining where things went well and stuff like that, why things work and why things don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was also going to say that David Tennant is my second favourite, close second.
I think that David Tennant is just a bit too dramatic. There are some bits, my favourite episode from the new specials, and I think a lot of people, it's their favourite episode, Wild Blue Yonder. That's what it's called.
It's like the Futurama movies.
Yeah, they land on a spaceship in on that because the Donna has spilled coffee all over the TARDIS, and the TARDIS has gone wild and gone to the edge of the universe and abandoned them. Had this ship that's lost on the edge of the universe, and they're alone, so it seems, and it's there are no other characters. There are no other like actors or anything. It's just them in the whole thing. But it's so scary because these things from the edge of the universe or from beyond the edge of the universe come and replicate them. But they don't actually know what humans are supposed to act like and what their limitations are. So, Donna's doing this thing that the doctor told her to do while the doctor goes and does something else.
Right.
And then it appears that the doctor comes back into the room and he just sits there and watches her. And then he's just sitting there watching her and then he goes, "My arms are too long." And she's like, and she just goes on with her monologue, and he mentions Wilf, even though like the creature that has replicated him, has replicated his knowledge, his life, all of that, but doesn't know how he physically is supposed to behave, and so it's just like progressively working it out. But I've now seen the episode that many times that I know that they actually never actually physically attack them, so I know it's okay.
So it's really scary.
It's really scary.
It's good. That sounds like a good original Doctor Who monster.
I watched Blink again.
Yes.
And it was not as scary as it used to be.
No.
But because I've seen it that many times.
There's that, but there's also the fact that,
I know how the angels work.
Well, exactly. So, the thing about...
At the time, we had no idea what it was, and it was so scary.
I don't want to go off on a rant here, but there's only one... it's my big thing with horror.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things with horror, but one of the things with horror is, if you want to write something scary, you got to understand what the scariest thing in the world is to all creatures. You know what that is?
The dark.
No, well, close. It's the unknown.
The unknown. Yeah.
What's dark is not
something
scary.
You've never seen before, something you've never encountered before.
Not knowing how it works, not knowing how it looks.
Yeah.
The reason the dark is scary isn't because you're scared of the dark. You're scared of what could be in the dark.
Yeah.
You're scared of what you don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You don't know what's in the dark. If you look into a dark forest, you don't know that something isn't looking at you right back from what's standing right there. Yeah. That's why the dark is scary. So the fear of the unknown is the ultimate scary thing. If you're a horror writer and you want to write something scary, the less you explain, the better. And the thing about the Weeping Angels, they've come back so many times, they've just continuously added to them in the lore and how they work that they're not really scary anymore because you know how they work so much.
I watched like my favourite Matt Smith series is series 5, and then like series 6 is good as well, but series 7 less so. Series 5, I watched the Angels episode, and the best thing about it was they added to the Angels. Because they were reading this book, and they said, anything that looks into the eyes of an angel or anything that looks like an angel is an angel.
Yeah.
And so
I like
they have this video recording.
Don't they do they ramp it up to the extreme and it becomes the Statue of Liberty?
Oh yeah. That was in the Angels Take Manhattan. They had the Statue of Liberty like going around the streets of Manhattan.
I remember them turning around. It's right there, on top of a building.
Yeah,
it's making like a scary face at them. So stupid.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. The more you know, the less scary it is. It's actually the big criticism of the most recent Five Nights at Freddy's movie is that they explain in no uncertain terms. Oh yeah, the animatronics are possessed by children's ghosts. There's no mystery. There's no that relating to them at all.
The best bit about it is that it was just a theory, just an idea.
It was. Well, it was evidence to suggest it, but like, I think that FNAF is no longer scary to most people.
They've done it to death.
They've done it to death, and there's so much explained about them. We
They've
know
got
so
books about
much.
It. They've got so many videos about it.
The first game is probably one of the scariest because you don't know why they're attacking you. You don't know what they're all about. You don't know what they want. You have ideas, but they don't seem quite right.
It was this fun little indie game.
It was
when it came out,
and the story was told through these really abstract ways, which it still is. But nowadays, it's just like it's kind of lost all of that.
Yeah.
I still think FNAF is a good franchise as a whole, but just for completely different reasons. I don't think it's scary anymore. So I didn't mean to go on a FNAF rant, but I'm just talking about I find horror to be very interesting because I know I've said it on Same before, but horror is kind of one of my favorite genres.
Yeah.
Because you can write anything. It's the one genre where anything goes. There's no restrictions, right? If there's something too extreme that you normally wouldn't write in any other method, you can write it in horror. And it's totally fine. And as a result of having that completely unrestricted, you can just do anything you want, there is the potential to write some of the most interesting, unique, and engaging stories of all time. The problem is with horror, though, is that whenever someone does kind of strike gold and find a good story, then they make 1 million of them and it loses all its appeal. That's why you have all these franchises like, Halloween or something like that, Halloween, Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm not trying to say those are fantastic franchises, but as soon as they kind of touch upon something that people like, they're like, oh, let's make 1 million sequels. And then that's all people know horror for, is all these horrible trash shit that just comes out all the time.
Yeah.
But every now and then you do find these gems, these fantastic films and stories where... and I honestly think that FNAF, at least initially, had a really interesting and engaging story because it was allowed to go there. All these child murders and stuff, you typically don't write about that kind of thing. But, in the gruesome ways that the characters die and things like that, they're able to go to these really interesting lengths and extremes. And it made it so interesting and engaging at first. And I don't know, I just say, but of course, there's 1 million sequels and they've expanded the lore way too much and it's become a very convoluted mess. But, I don't know. I really like. I just think that horror can be really, really, really good if it's allowed to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I know you're talking about Doctor Who. Well, Doctor Who is half horror anyway.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Super 8?
No, I've seen trailers for it. I played the playable demo in Portal 2.
Yeah. So I saw it at cinemas, I think.
Wow.
And so Super 8 is a Steven Spielberg movie. I don't know if it's horror, but it's scary. So because it's got like an alien in it and all that. And I don't know what E.T. is supposed to be. I guess it's like an adventure family movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But Steven Spielberg. It starts off like everything's gone crazy because there's been this series of events that have been going on, and it just gets more and more intense until they find the alien and manage to get it off Earth. And what I love about it is that the whole time it's just like a movie about these kids, so they're just doing their own fun little thing until they get brought into it, which I guess is generic in some way. But they found a cool way to do it, which was like they took home movies. It was like they're making home movies and they're just having silly fun, but they're taking it seriously. Like, we're gonna become famous actors and movie directors and stuff, and that's what they were doing. And they got sort of brought into the alien stuff because they were filming at the train station when the train came past, and then the train wreck happened because the aliens landed and wiped out the train. And they've got footage of that on their camera because they got knocked over. I've only seen the movie once, and not again, and I guess it's because it just I couldn't think of any reason to watch it again. Yeah.
That movie kind of just came and went. I feel like I don't hear anyone talk about it.
But it was my first taste of J.J. Abrams.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is it with Steven Spielberg?
So J.J. Abrams, I think it was like his first, what do you want to call that? Like top end director thing. Like the first time he'd actually directed a movie.
Oh.
And Steven Spielberg, it was just like he was like a co-director. He was sort of
Was he the writer?
He was sort of stepping back a bit.
Producer?
Yeah, I think writer and producer or something like that. I don't remember the details, but yeah, that's just a thing. I just thought I liked what they did with the sort of the childhood stuff and the home movie stuff, because at the end they're showing like what appeared to be Steven Spielberg's home movies, or that was the idea of something. You know, it was sort of like autobiographical, where it was like, you know, the fat kid who's the director, that's Steven Spielberg, because that was like what he did. He wasn't the actor. He did a bit, but he wasn't great. But he had these friends who were better than him, and he knew that, so he would make sure that they're on the camera, and he would run the show. I liked that because I related to that a lot with the movie stuff and things that I've done. But I haven't done any of that in 9 years.
It's been a while.
Yeah. That's alright. Sometimes that happens. There's even stuff that like gets put out in Doctor Who where I go, you're trying too hard. Can you just like take it a little bit easier on the story? You can just do what you want to do. You don't have to try and make this huge thing. And that's sort of what I love about Wild Blue Yonder in this David Tennant episode of Doctor Who is it's kind of standalone.
I think that's what Doctor Who should generally be, and that was H. Bomber Guy's consensus. I do like the big overarching storylines, but Doctor Who at its core has always been like the individual stories that he runs into.
Especially during the Tom Baker era. He just used to pop up, and even before then, you know, I've got Patrick Troughton stories. He just wanders into things that are happening and helps out.
Yep.
But now it's bigger, and in the Jodie Whittaker era, she used to just pop up and help out. But they had this sort of carryover of, she has to have this huge story going on.
It's a bit of both.
But they didn't do that in the classic era. They didn't have this big
The classic episode was very episodic.
Because they had to meet a deadline all the time.
Well, there's that.
But now they just do 13 episodes and then you forget about it.
Serialized TV shows were pretty unheard of for quite a while back in the day, where like it was an overarching story that you had to keep tuning into.
Yeah.
It was usually just episodic because you never knew when people were going to tune into things. Yeah. And it's sort of more of a recent thing to have it be a big serialized thing. I feel like we're really going off topic here, but I don't know.
The Big Bang Theory did kind of a bad job of that, but they still managed to keep it up over years.
I don't know. I think that what happens is like a lot of writers, they start off writing these simple, you know, stories that's just like episodic, and then they realize that they liken the characters in the world, and they kind of expand it and start making them bigger and bigger. There's millions of examples of it.
Yeah. One
Piece, Steven Universe, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, One Piece always had a big overarching kind of thing, but like it starts off relatively episodic.
It's just easy to do that with a story.
Oh yeah, it's easy to get lost in it.
Especially like once you do more and more of it, eventually gets to a point where you've done everything ever and it's time to move on.
I guess so.
And then you do something different. In my Christmas holidays, I had my 2 weeks off work, and on one of the days I did a little bit of extra work and made a little bit of money, and so that's my fun spending money for the year.
Yeah.
So now I've ordered 2 Doctor Who specials that I loved, not necessarily because they were the best written stories ever, but because I just loved what they did, and that's The Day of the Doctor and The Time of the Doctor. And The Time of the Doctor is criticised as being horribly written and all this stuff, and I'm like, it's got so much fun stuff in it though. And I'm like, fuck you people for thinking that someone trying to do something fun with the story and saying that, like, that's bad.
They're entitled to their own opinions.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. But, like I said earlier, I'm always going to 100% back someone for doing something different.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. Like, I will too. Where I take issue is if you try something different, and doesn't go well.
Yep.
I'll be like, good for you, man, you tried.
Yeah.
But if you then do the exact same thing again, insisting that no, I'm right, everyone else is wrong, then it's like, okay, come on,
Yeah.
you gotta stop. I think about this is a weird example, but Paper Mario, Sticker Star, they changed everything.
Yep.
And I don't really have an issue with Sticker Star because it's like, they tried something new, it didn't really work, no one liked it, it's fine. But then Color Splash, they were like, let's do it again. We don't care what our audience is saying. We don't care all the criticism we've received. Let's just do this whole thing again. And it's just like, as a result, when people ask, I say I actually hate Color Splash more, even though it's technically a better game. I hate that they just were like ignored all the criticism from the.
So what was it that they did?
Well, they completely changed. They took out all the personality first of all.
So in the stories.
So the stories have become really bland. Just Bowser Kidnaps Peach stories for the most part.
Yeah.
Again, Color Splash is slightly more detailed, but nowhere near as much as the old Paper Mario games.
Right.
They completely changed the combat system, so now it's all done with these cards and things like that. For a lot of the combat is even kind of completely worthless because you can't level up anymore, so it's just avoid most of the game. All the settings are just your basic kind of it's a forest, it's a desert, it's just this kind of, they really watered down the whole franchise, and a lot of people don't like it, and they did it at least twice in a row, and it's like
at least I didn't do it 3 times in a row.
Some people argue that they did. I would argue they didn't. I think they changed enough for Origami King that I really like it.
Okay, I've seen a few. There have been a few playthroughs of it by like Nintendo Capri-san or Runaway Guys and stuff. Maybe Choco Conroy. I don't know if he did it.
Choco Conroy, no, he didn't do Origami King. He did a series of videos talking about why Sticker Star is the worst game ever.
Okay. I know someone did it. Maybe Game Grumps did it. I don't know.
I have no
Game
idea.
Grumps play the bad games and they tell everyone the bad games. So
They also play good games. I think that they suck too. Did I just call back to something? No. Anyway,
Nintendo Capri-san is playing Super Mario Galaxy again, and apparently you can play as Luigi as a bee.
yeah, I guess so.
And I didn't know that. I haven't seen the video, but I'm like, first of all, the thing that caught me out was it says Super Luigi Galaxy, and then it said Bee Luigi, and I'm like, what?
Choco Conroy did the same thing actually. If you 100% Mario Galaxy 1, then you unlock the ability to play as Luigi and play through the game again as him.
Yeah.
And then he can get all the same power-ups as Mario, including the bee suit.
Yeah.
So that's what Bee Luigi is.
That's good.
I have never unlocked Luigi in Mario Galaxy because I always get near the end of getting the last few stars and they just annoy me too much and I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Because you have to 100% the game. You don't just beat it, you got to 100% it.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan of Mario Galaxy 1.
No.
That's my controversial hot take.
Okay.
I way prefer... They have the Mario All-Stars collection. And I 100% Mario 64.
Mm.
I 100% Sunshine and played it again for same. That was Mario Sunshine 2.
Yep.
In Mario Galaxy, I played like half of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway.